My name is Israelite, and you're welcome to the AM show. Christmas is just days away now, and I'm sure you're looking forward to having a wonderful time. At least you don't have to worry that right after Christmas, that's in the new year, you have to contend with charges on your Momo and other electronic transfers. Yes, further consideration of the e-levy has been deferred until Parliament returns from recess on January 18 next year. The House rose yesterday after Monday night's brawl, which left some MPs nursing their wounds and the legislature itself suffering some damage to its image. This morning, we'll be joined by two MPs from both sides of the divide for a sober reflection on the events on Monday night and what it will take for the two sides to cooperate more effectively, as has been suggested by some analysts we spoke with on the AM show yesterday. But it is obvious Ghanaians are not impressed by the conduct of the MPs.
And that's the embarrassing aspect of it. Because I know personally that in everything we deal with law. And then, as we said, the dialogue, or we just debate and then come out with substantive issues concerning all these things. And then, at the end of the day, they draw a conclusion. So then, you also ask, why then did Abambagwin also left his seat?
We'd also love to hear from you what you expect of your MPs come 2022. Meanwhile, there are concerns by some economists over the proposed implementation of the e-levy, and the controversy is generated and the signals being sent to the investor community. It's all detailed in a report on AM Business. And for all you Kojo Entry fans, he's on the show today. He'd be telling us all about his 24th night concert. We have all that and more coming up on the show. Do stay tuned. All right, you're welcome to the AM News. And Parliament has adjourned sitting on the controversial e-levy bill to allow for broader consultation. The chaotic event which ensued in the House on Monday forced an adjournment of proceedings to Tuesday. The House then reconvened at 11 a.m. Tuesday with heavy security presence. Personnel from the Ghana Police Service and the National Security Agency were stationed at vantage points with other plainclothes officers seated in the press gallery. Members of Parliament were screened before entering the chamber. Meanwhile, the Minority Caucus in Parliament has dismissed claims that the Speaker, Abambagwin, has failed to demonstrate leadership in recent times. The NDC MP say Mr. Bagbing has so far acted in the interest of the state, citing his decision to ignore the approval of the budget by a one-sided majority as a move worthy of emulation. The NDC caucus also argues that, unlike Abambagwin's predecessor, the current Speaker has been balanced in the handling of the affairs of the House. Deputy Minority Leader James Klucha-Veggie addressed the media on Tuesday.
The first thing that he said was that the Speaker of Parliament should show leadership. We are surprised that the Deputy Leader, Honorable Makin, should be calling on the Speaker of Parliament to show leadership. We do not see anything that the Speaker of Parliament is doing which shows that he is not showing leadership. In fact, if we want to talk about the Speakers of Parliament and in the immediate past Speaker of Parliament or the 7th Parliament as compared to the current Speaker of the 8th Parliament, if we want to talk about who is showing leadership, it is Honorable Bagbin who is showing leadership. In fact, when Honorable Bagbin returned from his medical trip and where his Deputy Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker, did all sorts of things to overturn the decision of Parliament when the Speaker was around. If Bagbin is somebody who is not showing leadership, he would have reversed all those wrongs that were done by the first Deputy Speaker. But for the fact that he wanted the country to move on, he only said that he is not going to do anything to turn or overturn those decisions. And that shows somebody who is showing leadership. So for Afanya Makin to say that Bagbin should show leadership, we are surprised, and we want to tell the whole world that Bagbin is an experienced former member of Parliament. In fact, the only person who has served the Parliament of Ghana as a member of parliament for 28 good years. We had all the experience from the first parliament to the seventh parliament.
Away from Parliament, road users plying the Tema motorway are calling on government to fix damaged crash barriers around the Community 18 junction. The motorists say the deplorable nature of the stretch continuously poses a risk to road users, and the absence of crash barriers worsens their plight. They want government to, as a matter of urgency, also fix the gaping potholes on the stretch and install new crash barriers. Mausi Numong's report read to you.
Tema motorway is one of the busiest stretch in the capital. The 19-kilometer road network connects Accra to Ghana's industrial hub Tema. However, the stretch is now a death trap. Potholes have taken over portions of the road. Crash barriers, which would have protected road users in the event of an accident, have been ripped off. Drivers say they had had enough. They want government to fix the roads and install new crash barriers this festive season.
The bridge here, it is suffering for here because the motorway top, soldier man can't fall for the bridge inside. That one, I don't see anything for here. But I don't know if it will be government in mother or in father can't fall for the gutter inside and can't do something for here.
What we have at the bridge is about the motorway. Look at the motorway side. Normally there is road guards, but up to now all of them, when you are passing on the motorway, nothing is there. So we are pleading to the government to come and do something.
Me wa da bridge about 9 years now. Problem bakuna say kabe bobi across motorway. Cat me fi motor no so abeto cars wo cars na kono ngwa no mu bridge na say. It me fi motor no so abeto sa aka no so.
Appalled by government's continued neglect of the stretch, Secretary of the Underbridge Taxi Drivers Union, Isaac Labi, said it is not enough to patch up potholes every now and then. He says government must commit finances to fix the stretch once and for all.
That rail was made for protection's sake, for both cars and then pedestrians. So once it's off, it means it's going to pose danger for both cars and motorists. And it's unfortunate. The motorway is fast deteriorating. If anything got spoiled on the motorway, it's as if no one cares about it. Not only the rails, but this is a dangerous situation. It's something that needs to be attended to immediately. So I'll plead with the authorities that that place is a dangerous place. If nothing is done about it, it will get to a time even people may not like to block, even though it is but it can cause accident every now and then. So once they attend to the rails, they should also see to the potholes and then take good care of the motorway.
While filming this report, our cameras captured another problem. The motorway was originally constructed as a major highway, but today illegal squatters have taken over state lines, erecting makeshift structures on the shoulders of the road. What this means is that the number of pedestrians crossing the motorway have also increased. Comfort, a resident, says a crash barrier is crucial to protect the lives of pedestrians.
It's very risky because especially when there is traffic on the motorway, we find it difficult to cross over because sometimes when there is traffic, a lot of cars decide to pass the other end, not on the main road. So it's very risky and it affects those of us that always cross this road to our various marketplaces to buy our items. So I think they should do something about it to save lives.
Well, until government intervenes, these road users remain at the mercy of speeding vehicles and motorists, you ask. Well, let's say they are at the mercy of potholes. Mausi Numong report for Joy News.
It is important to note, actually, that you're not supposed to be crossing the motorway. I just had to say this. It is just 2 days to Christmas, and the annual beautification of the Liberation Circle and other principal streets of Accra with lights is back. One of the people behind the transformation of the capital into a city of light, CEO of Jandel Limited, Afia Moro, says most of the materials and designs used for the lights were locally made. She spoke with Joy News at the launch of a ceremony to hashtag Light Up Accra.
Peace, happiness, love, all these are positive things. Let's dwell on the positive things rather than drown ourselves in the mundane. Because to every cloud, there is a silver lining. Yeah, you'll be seeing Christmas-related designs. But the beauty of it is that we have manufactured these things ourselves over here with hard-working artisans. And we are very happy that the foreign components has not been too heavy. And we have also Ghanaianized some of the products. If you go to the Ridge Runabout, you'll find that a young man has used plastic bottles to create a Christmas tree. We gave him exposure, and this is what we want to do. We want to expose talents, young talents who come with that mentality of doing Ghana to make Ghana great, to make Greater Accra great. So when anybody has any assets, we are willing to look at your concepts and help you to give the platform for you to do what you are doing.
Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte at the event urged the populace to create long-lasting memories this festive season.
This year's event promises to give Ghanaians a spectacular and exciting experience. This December, the Regional Coordinating Council, in partnership with Messrs. Jandel Limited and Malinlo, will light up the capital with beautiful illumination across the streets of Accra. The Light Up the City 2021 will enhance the Christmas celebrations as a high point for the festive season and bring excitement within the city. All lights go up in Accra as we mark our Christmas season memorable with our friends and family. We are bringing you the best experience you have been waiting for in a livable city such as Accra. I will therefore urge the people of Greater Accra and even beyond to pin the fun and create beautiful and long-lasting memories at this year's event.
And that'll be all for the AM News. We have the news review coming up. To stay tuned. So it's time for the news review, and Elting has joined me. Good morning to you, Elting.
Good morning, Easy.
Yeah, so there you have it. We finding ways to adapt to, because the Kwampa band also has their own renditions of some of these Christmas carols, and I think it's creative.
We are localizing it.
They were localizing it. Okay, so let's get into the newspapers. Yesterday, the morning after the brawl happened in Parliament, we realized that most of the newspapers, in fact, none of the newspapers got it because of the time it happened. But this morning, we have the newspapers wash with headlines regarding the brawl. And one of them we have here, boxing MPs go home after E-blows. That's a way of capturing. Boxing MPs go home after E-blows. And then we have Parliament on recess, a statement saying Parliament on recess after brawl over E-levy. And then the Find also has it on the front page, voting on e-levy postponed to 2022 as Parliament resumes January 18. And we have, so the Daily Graphic, the Daily Graphic has Parliament fails to approve e-levy bill 2021. one.
So if you have the Daily Guide, it captures that beast in Parliament, free for all fight. That's according to the Daily Guide. More
calling them beasts.
Beast in Parliament, free for all fight. Now, Ghana wins Norway Chancery case, according to the Attorney General. Sosu to amend incompetent motion against the IGP. More investment in the education sector. So the dispatch has its shameful Parliament. They cut the face of an MPP MP with a razor blade. I saw it. That's according to an MPP MP. And we are talking about the Minister for Youth and Sports, Yusuf Mustafa. I said I had a chat with him, and he was at the hospital at the time I spoke to him, receiving treatment for some facial injuries. Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah. Ghana needs to tackle.
No, but that's criminal.
That's very criminal, and I don't know what the marshal and the security agencies will do about it. In fact, there's video and pictures at the time of the incident, and you can clearly identify those who may have, done the damage to him.
Take action.
Yeah. So he was at the hospital yesterday when we spoke in the morning. He was receiving treatment for some facial injuries. The Youth and Sports Minister. So that's how the dispatch captures it. Shameful Parliament. And the Minister for Youth and Sports has become a victim to this rather condemnable act.
Yeah. And yesterday, Edward Bauer, the MP for Bongo, he was on the show. It was after the show that he drew my attention. He was in the thick of things.
Yeah.
He drew my attention to the fact that somewhere along the line, he received some hefty blow. It was like something was
heavy,
whack him from the back. And he's still nursing that injury. So it's quite unfortunate. But these things tend to happen when it was more like some mob action.
Yeah.
And there was rage running through the people. That's why we shouldn't let things degenerate to that level. Anyway, let's get on to the other stories that we have, the other newspapers. Well, let's get into the papers themselves. We'll start with the Daily Graphic. And that story on Ghana winning case in Norway is also here. Attorney General Godfrey Dami. And then Yuletide is here. Police scale up security, which is very important. It's a story by Emilia Enin Abe. It says the police administration has ramped up security measures, including intensifying patrolling and increasing visibility in crowded areas across the country to ensure public safety during the festive season. It says in line with this, thousands of policemen in uniform and plain clothes have been deployed to various locations throughout the country. Night patrolling has also been increased, particularly in places that police identify as vulnerable areas. This is good, even though already we've seen that in the last few weeks since the new IGP took over, we're seeing increased police visibility. And they've located or situated or positioned themselves, stationed at some vantage points, which is really good. It's quite reassuring.
But I also hope that they deploy more to the traffic-prone areas. Because this morning, for example, between Tesano and Joy FM, it took me a while to get here. Because most of the traffic lights are not working, and drivers, everybody appears to want to move at the same time. And it's creating a lot of traffic on that stretch. And I'm hoping because today and tomorrow and 24, people will be going out a lot to do shopping or whatever it is.
Last minute shopping.
Yeah, if they should deploy more people to traffic-prone areas, I think it will help.
Okay, great. I believe the police will take that up. And Côte d'Ivoire, dockers suspend strike. Court allows Zuma to appeal. That's inside Africa. And we move on to Biden provides 500 million test kits to tackle surge. Romanian crowd tries to storm parliament. And there's an opinion piece by Elizabeth Ohene, says the blue kiosk option is here in the Daily Graphic. It says the cavalier attitude towards a dramatic change of address can only mean these are people who, in spite of working in a digitalization project, really think in terms of the blue kiosk option. You probably would have to read the story. So you read the opinion piece so you can get a lot more on that. Police initiate moves against defilement in the Volta region. Okay, and I see a photo of a Fiat Tank, DSP Fiat Tank, who used to be in Accra. She's now in the Volta region, and in a demonstration with one of the pupils during their sensitization session. Says the head of the Volta Regional Police Public Relations Unit, DSP Ifya Tenge, has observed that an early detection of threats of sexual violence on children could save them from a lifetime of physical and psychological woes. Indeed, that's true. I would say my Merry Christmas to DSP Ifya Tenge in the Volta region. Women advised to lead in water sector. It's also another story here. Then on page 16, Parliament fails to approve e-levy bill. It's here. And there's a photo of the brawl as well. And we're sorry, Majority Leader apologizes for brawl in Parliament. It was you who said yesterday.
Yeah, they will come and apologize.
Apologize.
And they will do it again, I'm sure, when they come back in January.
Yeah. Speaker took leave on health grounds. That's the minority saying that. And it's interesting, you know, yesterday, or when the brawl happened, the moments before the brawl, we heard Afenyo Makin, the Deputy Majority Leader, who was saying that the Speaker was nowhere to be found.
Yes.
Yesterday, I got a call from Mike Gizo, a former minister in the NDC, and he was drawing my attention to the fact that it's impossible that the Speaker will just vanish into thin air. And if the Speaker indeed vanishes into thin air, on what basis did the first Deputy Speaker assume the chair? Because the first Deputy Speaker won't just assume the chair because the Speaker
is not there.
Is not there. And indeed, yesterday, in an interview with the first Deputy Speaker, he indicated that the Speaker told him
to sit.
So, on what basis was Afenyo Makin saying that the Speaker was nowhere to be found when he had left instructions?
And remember that this position taken by Afenyo Makin is also collaborated by the Majority Leader, who also said that he attempted to call the Speaker several times, left messages on his phone, but none was, replied. And so for him, for the Majority Leadership, their position appears to say that they had no official communication from the Speaker regarding his absence from the seat.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Muntaka Mubarak, he would not say that the Speaker told him that he was out of the chamber because of health reason. He says that we all know that the Speaker is going through treatment. Yeah. So, I mean, there appears to be... No, but usually, if the Speaker is exiting the chair or is unable to sit, the first or the second Deputy Speaker cannot call the House into order unless he had the express permission of the Speaker to do so. Indeed, even before he takes the seat, the clerk or whoever is at the table office will announce to members that the Speaker is not around, and so this Deputy Speaker is taking over.
Yeah. And indeed, the first Deputy Speaker indicated that. He said it. I heard him clearly yesterday on Joy News. In fact, we'll look for that interview and bring that to you, because I heard him clearly indicate that he was told by the Speaker
to sit.
Okay, so endorsing sitting MPP MPs alien, dangerous. That's Nano Briboahin saying that, you see, one of the proposals that the Majority Leader has been pushing for some time, and as you pointed out, is that they would want to have the incumbent MPs giving some leverage and giving some protection so that they're not contested. But he's saying that endorsing sitting MPs, MPP MPs, alien and dangerous. Yeah. So, well, I'm sure they'll discuss all of that eventually. They'll come to some conclusion. Proposal for Children's Park facelift developed. That's the acting gender minister saying that. It's Mrs. Cecilia Dapa, acting minister for gender, children and social protection. Yesterday, a question was asked, if Adwoa Safo is available, why is she not going she's available to be in Parliament? Why is she not going to take over the ministry? And probably does it mean that she's not interested in the job anymore? She can't do the job. Do we have to appoint someone else?
Well, I think the president will have to take a decision on this. The year is almost ended because you have a minister who is taking charge of two very important ministries, gender and sanitation. The member of parliament for Dom Kwabena is in town. In fact, yesterday when Parker spoke to the Majority Leader, she was right, behind him.
Yeah.
Meaning that she's
available.
Yeah, she's fit. And so why is she not going back to the ministry to do the ministry's work?
Anyway, Central Region House of Chiefs resolves 17 disputes. And in the center spread, CIMG confers fellowship on 2 marketing practitioners. E-payment platform delivers efficiency, transparency. That's President Akufo-Addo saying that. And Ghana Tourism Authority embarks on enforcement exercise. More people seek legal aid, and 2 fined for demonstrating against Newmont. Ghana Library Authority wins UN Award. Professor Farquhar inducted as first GTUC Vice Chancellor. UNESCO honors World Vision to others. Few more stories in the Daily Graphic before I hand over to you, Elting. So NICU soldiers supports baby on oxygen. And in business, companies urge to tap into 1.5 trillion renewable energy market. Let's relive virtue of gratitude. That's Cardinal Turkson saying that. Let me find out which Cardinal Turkson this is. Okay, it's the same Cardinal Turkson who we're learning that only recently resigned from a post at the Vatican. Then DVLA to introduce stringent issuance regime for DV plates. The DVLA is about safety, and so all our efforts are geared towards ensuring safety on our roads, both on the side of the driver and the vehicle. Use skills to transform society, Education Minister tells graduates. Change ways of doing things in COVID-19 era. That's Aisha Akrofi saying that. State PROs urge to sensitize public to government business. And in sports, Black Stars coach confident of AFCON success. Indeed, we're wishing the Black Stars all the best in the AFCON. Water facility to serve 3,500 in Ahanta West. That's on the back page of the Daily Graphic. Traders arrested over adulterated palm oil. Elton.
Right, so easy. So let me start with the dispatch. The dispatch says that they cut the face of Mustafa Yusuf with a razor blade. I saw it. That's according to the Member of Parliament for Otafo on chaos in Parliament. And the Member of Parliament for Otafo, Vincent Eko Asafwa, has revealed that amidst the brawl and chaos that ensued between the minority and the majority side in Parliament on Monday, the Sports Minister Mustafa Yusuf was harmed on the face with a razor blade by an NDC MP. He will not mention the name of this said NDC MP. He was speaking to Pure FM when asked by the host to name this MP. He said he would use more adjectives if the airwaves admitted or permitted. Now, he described the speaker in a very derogatory remarks. I won't be able to repeat these words here. He said he's disappointed. If you allow me, I'll use more adjectives on him. He relinquished his duties and he must be blamed. I'm disappointed in him. We, the young ones, before we came to the House, somehow looked up to him to be better legislator. I am disappointed. The NDC MP used razor blade to harm the face of Mustafa Yusuf. I was with him and we took him to Parliamentary Hospital. I suspect 2 MPs. Now, that's according to the Otafo MP.
Do you think these comments could get him into trouble?
Of course, to use words like this. I think if a member should raise this matter on the floor and say that this is affront to the dignity of Parliament, the Speaker, if he feels that...
May refer to the Privileges Committee.
Can refer the conduct of the MP to the Privileges Committee to substantiate. Yeah. I think sometimes when the people are in the heat of some of these, they tend to use words that they later will come up, regret, withdraw, and apologize, because to use some of these words on the Speaker of Parliament, who was not even the chair, yeah, I don't think it is acceptable. Now, also, there's also the good side to the chaos that happened in Parliament yesterday. Now, according to the paper, Kennedy Yapon, who's a member of Parliament for Assin North, and Sam George, who is Christian, a red-headed person in Parliament. These, according to the paper, were the 2 MPs who were seen, calming them down, and somehow were successful in getting some of the backbenchers not to take part in the chaos that ensued on the floor. The paper is applauding them for the action that they took during the confusion in Parliament. Now, there's an article on the housing conditions in Ghana. There's another one from Professor Michael Quay, Law, Justice and Human Rights. Now, let me just read a few parts of it.
Okay.
Now, it says, NDC cadres and operatives held the church in contempt and terrorized worshippers whenever they could. An example was in Kumasi, which stand on Sunday, 7 February 1992, members of the Lord is My Shepherd Church, a church in Kumasi whose membership included several West African nations, were in the middle of a service singing, clapping, dancing, and praising the Lord when proceedings were rudely interrupted by a revolver-wielding soldier. Major Dako drunk and wild, stood in the middle of the church and ordered the congregation to stop the noise. His interpretation of the worship, Major Dako ordered the leader of the church, Odifo Samuel, to kneel before him. The prophet obliged, and the major placed his foot on the head of the prophet and said, I'm baptizing you, say amen. So these are some of the things that happened during the revolutionary era, and he's put them in a book. So this part is serializing it. I'm sure if you get it, you will read and get to the bottom. Focus on Ghana's involvement in the Liberian War is also captured here in the district. Republic of Ghana needs to tackle violent MPs, Kwadwo Oppong Nkrumah, and he is reacting to the matters that took place in Parliament yesterday. And the House is on recess till the 18th of January for the Christmas break. And my information is that when they come back, the e-levy again will be on the floor. The government position is that without the e-levy, in fact, meeting revenue target will be extremely difficult.
Yeah.
So
it's become very
now that you've actually closed the toll booths, losing almost 70 million Ghana cedis, or a little over 10 million Ghana cedis, and the e-levy will not take effect until maybe February, meaning between January 1 and 31st of January, you will not be able to rake in the revenue that is needed.
There's a hole.
Yeah, that will be a big hole to fill. So 18th of January it will come, and my information will also come under a certificate of agency, but they will continue the process as it was truncated in Parliament yesterday.
All right. Let's get to the finder on the front page. Voting on e-levy postponed to 2022 as Parliament resumes January 18. We'll work tirelessly to protect lives, as the IGP is saying that. Dr. Bawumia to launch e-pharmacy digital platform today. Digitalization of the economy would help protect the public purse. That's the president saying that. And so those stories, some of those stories are on page 4. AMA receives 3 refuse trucks to improve waste collection, and minority keen on capping government borrowing next year. Again, minority remains resolute to fight e-levy. That's Haruna Idrisu. So in that, government's compulsory directive spikes up COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, that's interesting. So government's recent directive compelling all citizens to get vaccinated by January 2022 has triggered a sudden spike in COVID-19 vaccination in the Owutu Senya West district. Anyway, if that's what it's going to take for people to get vaccinated, because the more people are vaccinated, the safer we all are.
I mean, it's a big blow for event organizers ahead of Christmas, those who have already booked venues for their musical concert here and there. Now, the directive from the Ghana Health Service yesterday is that they will not allow anybody to hold an indoor event, and that if you should go ahead and do it, they may come and close you down. Few days to some of these events. I'm wondering whether it came so late. It came so late.
The bookings,
Can they just say that we only admit people who can show proof that they've been vaccinated?
Yeah, they've been vaccinated.
I mean, I don't know how. Personally, I think that the directive came too late, and it is going to put people in a very bad situation, especially those who invested money in some of these things.
Yeah.
I have to go and look for an open theater or something of a sort. I'm wondering how this is going to be. I'm wondering what went into, some of these decisions.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably thought, okay, we could manage, but then they looked at the number of cases that are coming in, and they're like, okay, especially because the Omicron, the latest variant, is quite highly transmissible.
But as at last week, we're recording 12, 20 new cases every day. Now this one is 315.
315?
Yes, and our active cases are jumped from 600 as at last week to 1,800. Meaning that there's a steady rise. And we are yet to get to the peak of the Xmas festivities where we're going to have a lot of, people coming into contact with each other. In January, maybe the numbers may look bad. But I'm hoping that they and the event organizer can come to some kind of an understanding to move these things forward.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, and then here we have 2 people die of COVID-19 in Doma East District. And Christian Council blasts MPs over shameful chaos. And the census spread, prepared to lead the world, Dr. Baumia urges national skills medalists. The fire service advises Ghanaians to observe fire safety precautions. That'll be it for me for the finder.
All right, so if you take the Ghanaian time, let me just look at the front, the middle page of the paper, gridlock in Accra, drivers, commuters experience awful Yuletide traffic jam. And just like previous years, the traffic situation in the country's capital, Accra, ahead of the Christmas festivities, continues to heighten, making both drivers and commuters distressed. Drivers and commuters suffer awful gridlock on major roads such as the Accra Central, using the Graphic Road, Kolebu, and they've mentioned some of these areas. I'm sure that if you are moving out of your home today, these are the places you should look out for. If you don't have anything urgent doing in town, perhaps you should consider staying at home. And if you're going to the market, there are so many markets spread across the capital. You don't really need to be in Accra if it's not so urgent. But anyway, they say that things in Accra are cheap.
So cheap.
They rather will endure the traffic.
But Christmas certainly is a really bad time to step out.
Of course.
The traffic is crazy.
Terrible.
It's really
terrible. And government says that it has approved the allocation of funds to cater for the activities of regional security councils, including payment of allowances to members. This forms part of efforts by government to strengthen the various RegSec to ensure and enhance the country's chances of dealing strongly with security threats at the local level. The Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapara, disclosed this in Accra yesterday as a sensitization forum organized by the Ministry for Regional Ministers on the new national security strategy launched by the President. So that's good news for the RegSec. Finally, they can be taking some allowance. VRA to digitize operations this year, that's according to the CEO, and for the first time in 9 years, VRA recorded profits running into 157 million Ghana cedis. Open Brains Alarajo poses security risks to motorists and residents. And I'm sure that the highways authorities will take notice of this and try and fix this. Now let's go to the sports page. CAF sent top officials to Cameroon ahead of the AFCON preparation. Remember that in January, we'll have the African Cup of Nations. There's been calls by Europe, especially. There's even the FIFA president has also added his voice, calling on CAF to consider suspending the Confederation of African.
They said it's going ahead.
Yeah, they say they're going ahead. They have no intention of doing that. And sometimes I tend to support them. We've had Euros at the peak of the COVID. It did not lead to the suspension of the Euros. So let's see.
Except in Africa, we haven't vaccinated a lot of people.
That's also the issue. Bank of Ghana forward suspected cases of financial crime to Yoko for investigation. And so some more stories. Premier League to continue through festive periods amid COVID-19 record cases.
So if you're just stopping the EPL, why do they want?
Why do you want us to stop AFCON? Because some of our players are playing in Europe. They don't want them to come to.
Let's get to My Joy Online and look at some of the stories there. So Christmas and COVID-19, an event cancelled is better than a life cancelled. That's the WHO saying that. Well, it's worth considering. If you can cancel your event and save a life, that's good. All right, we have other stories. Parliament adjourns proceedings to return on January 18. Leadership has been missing in the 8th Parliament. That's Suleiman Abrahima saying that. Ghanaians voted for you to engage in debate, not boxing. Christian Council tells MPs. And Asaman Kese Yampas, Berima Pubi, Asomeni II, no chief of Asaman Kese, arrest all culprits or chain into police. E-Levy, executive appears to be very recalcitrant. Suleiman Abrahima again. And clearly, this parliament has lost it from the start. That's Samson Gladia Yenini. Joy FM's Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols comes off on Thursday. In 2022 budget, minority engaging in Orwellian double speak. Martin Amidu saying that. All right, so that'll be it for the news review. Thank you very much, Elton, for coming through. And we're taking a break. We're bringing you sports next to Stay tuned in.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM Sports with me, Oreku Ampofo. Black Stars coach Milovan Rajevac has named a 30-man provisional squad for the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations to be hosted in Cameroon. The revelation was made on Tuesday during a press conference at the GFA headquarters in Accra. Here is the full squad. Well, after the press conference, Milovan Rajevac justified why he included all 30 players in his squad.
Ja sam bio po Evropi, pratili smo sve igrače, moji saradnici, svi smo znači pratili igrače i jednostavno odlučili smo se za ovu listu. Mislimo da je u ovom trenutku trenutna lista u redu i normalno idemo, drugi step je idemo na pripreme i tu ćemo vidjeti i tim i kako i sve da se odradi za African Cup of Nations.
Not only last few days, the whole period behind us, maybe more than 1 month, was the only focus was on monitoring the players and assessing their form and finding the best solution. So it's never easy, you know. Many of them, they deserve to be here, so to make decision like this is never easy. So we hope that, you know, this is the best at this moment, and that these guys are, I absolutely believe these guys are ready to deliver and they are ready to fight for their country and to do the best they can.
I u mom poslu je uvek tako da sam normalno sa stručnim štabom donosim odluke da se dogovaramo, ali normalno zadnje naše niko nam se ne meša. Mislim da smo svi u dobrom šepu, da imamo zajednički cilj i da svako radi svoj posao, tako da normalno da ja radim svoj posao i da se sigurno niko ne meša u to, ali dobro je čuti sve, tako da od uvek je tako bilo kad sam ja u pitanju.
Nobody interfered my selection this time, not same thing was in the past. Also, I always talk to my assistants and I talk to the people in the federation. We always have fruitful discussions about something, and you know, we have good communications, but nobody is interfering. At the end, I'm the responsible and I pick my team, so nobody put any pressure on me. So this squad is the squad that I decided about together with my assistants.
Jedino ja odgovaram za rezultat.
And finally, before we go, WBO Junior Lightweight Champion Joshua Wahab is in the final stage of preparations ahead of his December 24 title defense. There's more in the following Joy Sports report.
Joshua Wahab trains day and night, fine-tuning preparation for his title defense on Christmas Day. He is the current holder of the WBO Africa Junior Lightweight title. Wahab is impressed with his fitness level ahead of the big bout.
My fitness level is 100%. Even I can say maybe 120% because, I don't wait for them to give me fight before I start prepare. I always get myself always ready 100%. So, me doing this thing today, just like I'm just doing training, I'm ready. If they say the fight is tomorrow, I'm ready.
Joshua Wahab expects a tough test as he comes up against Tanzania's Jackson Malinyingi on December 25.
I respect every boxer. There's no boxer that puts in front of me that I underrate. He's a very good boxer. I watch a couple of his fights on YouTube, and I can see he's a very sharp guy. So we've worked on him, me and my team. The work is done already.
The bout is being put together by Ace Power Promotions. Isaac Iduamankwa is general manager.
For boxing fans who were at our event on the 16th of October, they realized that we produce some of the best fights in town, and our parents are always mouth-watering. This time is not exception. We have put together one of the best parents you can ever find, and it's a WBO Junior Lightweight title defense. And as you saw Oluwaseun Wahab display here, it tells you that he's ready, he's in good shape. And we expect boxing fans to come and enjoy. We have put together a very exciting package, and we are ready to entertain them on Christmas Day. We expect that the event won't be very long, to be very, very short, but full pack with exciting fights on the night.
Well, that's how we wrap up for sports here on the AM show. My name is Oreku Ampofo. Up next is AM Business, where I will be looking at the controversy surrounding the 1.75% e-levy, which could be sending wrong signals to Ghana's investors public. This is the warning that economists are flagging as Parliament struggles to reach a consensus on the approval of rejection of the levy. Today's AM Business visits the subject matter as Charles Ayite interrogates the cost build-up, investor risks, and then consumer anxiety of the 1.75% levy.
It was an awkward scene to behold on the floor of Parliament. Members of the House scrambling to get their entrenched positions known on the controversial electronic levy. There are two sides of the argument: the revenue generation intention by government as against concerns over the cost implication by many consumers of electronic transaction products, including techpreneurs.
So we need to get creative about it.
Take a listen to the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, explain to Joy Business why the e-levy must be passed at all cost.
I think it is clear in my mind the significance of the financial architecture if we are to make any progress of the transformation that we had. So the SEC is important for capital markets because you are then beginning to look at the real issue of infrastructure needs and long-term capital, which has been the bane in this country for a while. So, how do you garner or mobilize the revenue resources for that? I'm extremely excited about the future because I think we have changed the landscape of the introduction of technology and the imposition of the ID system to GRA. But that's not the end of it, because we are now also going to be able to link individual activities at DVLA, or even when you purchase a home or when you purchase an airline ticket, so that we'll be getting to a point where we actually know where people's incomes are, and then they can contribute their fair share to nation building through effective tax system.
Ever since this policy document for some taxation on electronic transactions came up, economists in Ghana, some of them actually, have been skeptical about its efficiency and trickle-down success as a tax handle.
that don't subscribe to the Momo tax.
Professor Godfred Bokpin is an economist and finance lecturer at the University of Ghana. He is warning that the very purpose for which the levy is intended for may not be achieved.
The principle is wrong. Implementing is going to be problematic. You are taxing movement of money. You are not taxing transactions. And it's neither consumption tax nor income tax. You can't place it here or there and all of that. And you see, the reason I'm concerned is that COVID has fast-tracked the arrival of the fourth industrial revolution predicated on network readiness. What does that mean? So the digital economy is what is going to drive the job creation ambition of any serious country. So, and we know that taxation can be deployed, fiscal policy can be deployed to promote rather than hinder. Studies have shown that the digital economy is going to expand faster, okay, and more sustainably than the traditional economy. And the digital economy is an economy that is based on the deployment of technologies, apps, and the rest of them. So the economic output arising as a result of the deployment of these technological apps and the rest of it is essentially called the digital economy. And we have said that that is the way to go. Okay, and by so doing, you realize that we've been able to mobilize funds that have been outside the financial system into the financial system broadly under what we call financial inclusion. So at this early stage, you actually don't introduce a tax that will serve as a disincentive and drive people underground.
In the advent of the coronavirus pandemic, Ghana and the rest of the world saw a gigantic boom in electronic transactions. In fact, the total value of mobile money transactions hit 476.7 billion cedis in the first half of this year alone, with the total number of transactions being estimated at 1.9 billion cedis. Even though this showed that many more Ghanaians have embraced the mobile banking concept, the introduction of the 1.7% e-levy has got many Ghanaians opting to rather keep their physical cash on them than electronically.
This is e-levy there. No, it's not good. This thing will affect many individuals in this country because now you can see that Ghana, we are passing through a lot of hardship. So this e-levy, you are pleading with the government. This e-levy, it will not help us. It will not help us because some of us, you are here, you have our parents in the village. So we're sending something small to them to manage their e-levy. It will disturb us a lot. So we are pleading with the government not to implement that.
For the e-levy issue, I'm not against the e-levy, but my idea or my suggestion is if the government can reduce it, that one will help. But the 1.75% there, it is too much.
E-levy, the almighty e-levy. I think e-levy is going to bring our work down. That's what I think. The agents, because most of the customers are now complaining they are going to move from mobile money. Even this one that we are doing, the commission on it, they complains, and this 1.75, they'll be like, wow, it's too much. I'll be very grateful if it's either they slash it down or maybe they don't think about it.
Even without the levy, the 1.75 levy, my customers are complaining. And they were like, if they implement the 1.75 this thing, they will deduct their money from mobile money. I think they will withdraw their money from mobile money. They will not transact anymore. And I think it will bring my business down. So I'm not in support of that.
1.75, 1.75, about affecting a business. A business, because if somebody wants to send money to his family members, I don't think the person will come to us for the transaction, because if the person goes and withdraw their money, because of the charges, the charge is bigger than the order they say, they don't come here and send the money. So it will affect us. So on this coming demonstration, we all be available there and do a gargantuan demonstration.
So far, Parliament has adjourned sitting until the 18th of January next year. What this means is that the revenue target for this controversial bill may not be reached in the time being. Aside from the controversy, there are deep concerns over the signals that this sends to Ghana's investor community. I engaged the Center Coordinator for CAT International, Apia Kosi Dumako, on the marketplace. He paints a gloomy picture for investors in 2022.
How do we ensure that this thing doesn't affect investor confidence? In the short term, this can even affect how our city performs. We are looking for the close of business today, how the city would react to what happened in Parliament last night. And that is a short term. But I'm very confident that between now and January 7th, this issue will be resolved, because Parliament has its leadership. Both minority and majority can sit down and chart a workable solution among this issue.
Of course, you deal with competitive policies, and you also engage the business community on how best they can remain competitive in the sub-region and even globally. We have also spoken to some of these, businessmen and women, entrepreneurs for that nature, and they're raising concerns about the e-levy, saying that it could really, offset attractiveness to electronic platform usage in the country, and of course, entrepreneurs within this eco space as well. From where you sit, what particular risk does the e-levy pose, aside its attractiveness to revenue mobilization?
The e-levy is helping government to get revenue to resolve its fiscal challenges. And also on the demands, on the supply side, those who are paying it also has a lot of issues on them. Because whenever you are transferring money from one point to another, government takes 1.75 plus what the platform users would also charge. So it's going to have effect on doing business in the country. But for me, what is more important is how do we ensure that this new levy that government has brought will not impact heavily on private sector and Ghanaians. And I think the best approach is government to bring the figure even below 1%, and then maybe gradually increase it. But starting it at 1.75 for us is very huge. At 1.75, anybody that we talk to will say that it is not the best.
To lessen the impact on consumers, telecommunication companies and their mobile money operators have agreed to reduce the charges on transactions by 25% amid the possible introduction of the e-levy. The proposed levy is a charge of 1.75% on the value of electronic transaction. It covers mobile money payments, bank transfers, merchant payments, and inward remittances.
Already we are picking up cases of panic withdrawals by some users of mobile money across the country, especially when some mobile money agents are also threatening to embark on a nationwide strike in protest against the controversial 1.75% e-levy. As it stands now, there are calls for both sides of the House to reach an agreement, especially when government says the revenue mobilization and the financing of development projects stands on this controversial levy. I'm Charles Aite reporting for Joy Business.
And that's the embarrassing aspect of it. Because I know personally that in everything we deal with law. And then, as we said, the dialogue, or we just debate and then come out with substantive issues concerning all these things, and then at the end of the day, they draw a conclusion. So then you also ask, why then did Abambagwin also left his seat just to make way for the first deputy speaker to also come? So the minority was having an agenda, and the majority was also thinking that then there's something wrong somewhere.
To the Microphone Parliament, because as a woman, first in history,
what they are doing at the parliament is uncalled for. I used to have so much respect for parliamentarians, but not anymore. It's very disgusting.
parliament wo me who be that since me ma me wo me ba wi ase here to ababi amoto the same thing no mo ye and no hwe de papa 40 parliament ye we nyina ye de bu o man.
This was rather unfortunate. We thought Parliament is supposed to be a place where the citizens will sit down and watch with admiration. So what we saw yesterday was very unfortunate. I'm expecting the two parties or the two caucus to sit down together and judge and come out with the best policy that will help the nation. That's all. That is all that we are expecting.
Do they want to kill us? My fridge is spoiled as a result of Dumsor, and now e-levy. I have lost respect for parliamentarians.
Yeah, so if they want to vote and they know they will fight, they should go to Bukuma Arena and stop destroying our properties. Because what they are doing is very, very poor. There is no sense in it. Why should a whole MP fighting over e-levy? You are the lawmaker and you are fighting. What do you expect me, the citizen, to do? Do you expect me to obey the rules and regulations in the country? No, I'm going to act more than what you are doing in the parliament. So they should advise themselves. It's very, very bad.
All right, so there you had some views from residents and some Ghanaians who are not too happy and not impressed at all with what happened in Parliament, that brawl on Monday night. Joining me in the studio now is Vincent Ekoa-Sifwa, who's MP for Otafo. And then shortly would also be joined by Roxy Nelson Dafiamakpo, who's the MP for South Dai, for us to look at have another look at the events that happened on Monday night. And I want to believe that upon sober reflection, they probably would have thought through and realized that indeed this shouldn't have happened. Good morning to you, Vincent. So I saw you right there in the thick of things when, with all the chaos that was happening in Parliament. And I've also seen some articles in which you are indicating that there was an MP who was cut with a razor blade. Is that really the case?
Right. Let me say a very good morning to your cherished viewers and, of course, the good people of Otafo constituency, all the polling station executives. I greet you this morning. Let me be very brief about this. In fact, on that fateful day, from the side of the majority, I was the first person to have gone to the speaker's podium.
Why would you go to why would you move to the speaker's podium?
Because I have seen a certain kind of trend, a trend of unruly behavior on the part of the NDC, that is the minority, since January 6th and 7th of 2001. And the strategy has always been that when they disagree with anything by the Speaker of Parliament or the clerk who is supposed to be superintending over proceedings and be acting as the Speaker of Parliament, then the best strategy has always been that they move straight to where the Speaker is. And so myself and Habib, my leader, saw the moves of some of the NDC MPs moving straight to where the Speaker of Parliament was, that is his left hand. And so the discussion between myself and Habib was that we need to make sure that we deal with these actions that the minority intend to embark on. And the actions are that all the time they will move to the left-hand side of the Speaker of Parliament, one, to attempt to accost the Speaker of Parliament, better still, to pull the chair of the Speaker of Parliament. And that has always been the strategy of my brothers from the minority side. As to why they have adopted that strategy, it beats my imagination. I don't understand. And so for the first time, we decided that no, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. And so we saw that that was going to be the strategy of the minority, to either pull the chair of the Speaker of Parliament. So myself and Habib and Nino Te, the Tema Central,
you moved to the Speaker's podium.
As soon as we see that the marshals are not able to hold it up, then we'll go in to assist them by only protecting the seat of the Speaker of Parliament. Indeed, the moves from the minority clearly show that they were interested in the seat, because at the time, Joe Osei-Owusu had indicated or had signaled that he wanted to leave the chair for the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament to come and sit in the chair. In fact, I am very new in Parliament. My brother Roxanne has been in Parliament for so long, but I am new. And at every point in time, sometimes, even when a member of Parliament is on his feet debating, the Right Honourable Speaker Alban Babin could excuse the House and say that the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament should take the chair, or the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament should take the chair. And the majority side, not even a single time have we resisted the Honourable Alban Babin from leaving his chair. Not even a single time. And so I have been very surprised that the minority attempted to stop the second Deputy Speaker from taking the seat when the first Deputy Speaker decided that he was now leaving.
So you say
I don't understand.
You say you
why.
moved to the podium, and the question I want to ask is, and by the way, we've been joined by Roxanne Nelson Dafemekpo, who's MP for South Dai, and good morning.
We'll have to check if he's not having any blows on his face.
We will be coming to you in a bit. So you moved to the podium, and the question I would want to ask is, was that the best course of action to take? Because you were, it's suggested at the point that you were going to take the law into your own hands.
Well, I am not a lawyer. He's a lawyer. There seemed to be a certain kind of immunity that members of Parliament enjoyed when you are in the chamber, when proceedings are ongoing. And I think that the case of Tufo versus Attorney General is very clear that whatever happens in Parliament is a closed book and what have you. And so you see the minority, especially some...
Answer the question.
Well, you hold on, I'll get there. I'll get there. You see some of the minority members moving to the left side of the speaker, attempting to cause that mayhem. And so we decided that we will stop any attempt in obstructing
at what point was
proceedings.
That decision taken?
Come again?
At what point was that decision? You said we decided.
When we saw the signals, and the signals has been that, I have told you, that there has been a certain trend of behavior on the side of the minority. Anytime that they disagree with the speaker, you will be seeing them moving one by one to converge on the left-hand side of the Speaker of Parliament. That as soon as the time is ripe for them, in their estimation, that the time is ripe for us to cause that mayhem or to obstruct proceedings, then they will trigger that process. And so we decided that this time round, we will protect the seat of the Speaker of Parliament.
So I asked, you said we decided.
Yes.
At what point did you take that decision? You and
myself,
who? And Habib.
Habib, and the Tema Central.
Okay. And the question
we were not
is,
going to fight.
In the question,
I told you.
In the question is, was that the best course of action? Because yes, you've had time to reflect over all of that. And looking at the chaos that ensued, was that the best course of action?
How many marshals do you have in Parliament? I've told you that the trend has been...
I'm asking if it's the best course of action.
All the time, I mean, they are overpowered by the minority. I don't know whether they have been... Do you guys join Bukum?
Because at the end of the day, we're seeing these images, which all of you have said that they're indeed regretful, and it shouldn't have happened.
You see, I told you behind the scenes that whatever the Ghanaian people are saying
about the conduct of the MPs,
in Chiomokano, Udika, because our actions and inactions have proven that indeed we have acted dishonorable. All of us should bow our heads in shame. we have a responsibility, myself and my brother Roxton here, to redeem the image that Parliament has enjoyed. As an MP, before I got into the House of Parliament, the ambition and the motivation has always been seeing people like J.H. Mensah on his feet, debating on the House of the...
you mentioned that there was one MP who was cut, and I'm asking, who's this MP who was cut, and who cut him?
Well, that is the Minister for Youth and Sports. I have told you that, and...
You said he was cut, you saw him?
Absolutely. When you see the face of my brother Mustafa Yusuf, it just can't be a blow that gave him that cut. When a blow gives you a cut, you see it. But I am contending with the evidence that I saw on the face of my brother Mustafa Yusuf, that it can only be a sharp edge.
Which part of the face was cut?
For the sake of, I mean, some private. You see, you asked me about the pictures, if you have it and all that. We have decided that we will keep, because he's a minister of state.
But you could say if his face is cut, because eventually he's going to...
His face is cut.
He will show up
leader, Chief of Staff, Chief Whip, have all granted interviews that indeed his face was cut.
No, I'm saying he will show up eventually. I mean, we'll get to see him in public, and so we'll get to know which part is cut.
We have been advised that we should keep everything private about this, especially because he's a minister of state. We do not want to cause any kind of disaffection for his family and all that. And so as to where his face was cut and all those things, for me, is immaterial. What is material is that, yes, the fact has been established. And in fact, I have seen it, that his face was cut, one, and this was caused by my own very good friend, the Ayesuano MP, the Honorable Teddy. As I've said, I don't know whatever was in his hand for him to have engaged in that. But I can only conclude that it was a sharp edge that was used to cause that damage on the face of my brother, Mustafa Yusuf.
Let me come to you, Roxing. The events of Monday night, everybody has described as regretful. The question I would want to ask you is, why did the NDC MPs move towards the Speaker's seat?
Thank you very much. And good morning to my viewers, especially my constituents in Piki, Kpali, Kpevetongo. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. I'll be joining them on Friday. And good morning to my brother like no other.
My senior colleague.
My Merry Christmas to you.
Yes.
I have some chocolates.
Oh, it is.
Oh.
So yeah, they're golden tree chocolates, so anybody who comes on the show gets a bit of it. Yeah.
I know when I get to my college,
I have different flavors, so
okay.
Yet,
I'll bring this one.
Yet, Israel. Vincent normally will speak, but today he's laboring. He's laboring a lot to make his point. Because you can't blame the NDC for this. And
they moved.
Hold on. No. Why? You saw the video. You saw the video. Myself and Sam George had been detailed by my leaders.
Polling agents.
To be polling agents. They called us polling agents. Yeah. So we were taking the tally of the head count. So in terms of proximity, we could have moved there, and we were capable. In fact, there's a publication out there that I caused the physical harm to the Minister of State, which was a blatant falsehood.
But the guy actually looks like you. I think the way
you understand. So now a look-alike now is Roxton. They got the facts wrong. So Sam George and I could have been, if indeed we intended to storm the stage, and as they are alluding to take over the seat of the Speaker. We were in close proximity to have done that, even before other members approached them. But they decided, and let me go back into time. On the night of 6th January, this meeting, the meeting is in a year. Yeah. This meeting began with a fight. And it's ended with a fight. Or the year began with a fight, and it's ending with a fight. Very regrettable. But traceable to unprocedural or procedural impropriety on the part of the majority. If you recall events of 6th January to 7th, simple procedure. Let us vote. The standing order says secret ballot. They say they want to do open ballot. That when you vote, you must show your vote. They will say, no, we will not allow you to bastardize the procedure. They won't understand. It took so long for order to be restored. Soldiers had to storm, and people like me had to be.
We saw all that.
Yes,
but
no.
We're talking about what?
No. Let's trace the history properly.
Okay, so it happened on.
Hold on.
On 6th January.
I'm tracing the conduct of the majority who are criticizing us.
All right.
When we restore order, and we voted, the majority decided to perpetrate fraud in the elections, to snatch a ballot, not simply snatching, but chewing it.
Yeah.
Because when you snatch, I can retrieve it from you. But when you chew it, it is gone. It is destroyed. So that is the majority that is complaining. And you think that the minority shouldn't resist such a conduct? Fast forward. You brought your most important policy to Parliament, which is the economic policy, reviewing performance for this year and next year. On the day of approval of the policy, you walked away. Which government does that? Then they came back to complain. I'm tracing conduct. On the day of the e-levy in question, what was the issue? After a very long battle after a long deliberative battle, a vote was taken. We contested the outcome. Procedurally pursuant to Order 114. A division has to be called.
Yeah.
Lobbies collect. Head count.
Yeah.
Then the speaker says, I'm serving notice that when the head count is being done, or when the head count is to be done, I will get up and go and have myself counted.
Yeah.
And we said, no, that is a procedural impropriety. Because when you are presiding pursuant to our standing orders, you do not have a vote. Because to call for a division is tantamount to an appeal, sort of, because there's been a vote. There's been a declaration of the outcome of those votes.
There's dispute.
There's dispute regarding the outcome. So I am asking for a review of that process. You did not participate in the voice vote. So you cannot now supplant yourself.
I think that's a fair point.
Good. So if the minority resisted this, how can we be faulted?
I'll respond. How is that fair?
Yes, how can we be faulted? And when you are doing a head count, once you come in and you get counted, you don't go out. But what they did was, they got the member for Fomina, who is the second deputy speaker, to get counted. I ticked him. He went to sit down. And then, moments later, they asked him to go out. When a member is in the chamber and wants to go out, there's no rule that says that you can forbid that, because there are a lot of things that will make a member step out of the chamber. But then we saw that, true to the words of the presiding speaker, he was going to exchange his place with him. And that was when the minority resisted.
Okay, so then the question is,
yes,
why would they move to the speaker's podium?
Because you see, if you allow the exchange, then they are going to introduce fraud into the head count.
Because
then the speaker is going to be counted.
You see, with the same question I posed to Vincent Assefa,
let me
by moving to do this, you're taking the law into your own hands.
The video, the video will show. So I won't be saying anything apart from what the video, the pictorial evidence will evidence. They had gone there to secure the stage.
That's not true.
Hold on. The video,
you were on the right side.
The video will speak to it. They had already staged themselves to secure because they knew they had a history that we had snatched the seat before. So in order to avert that, they had cordoned off the area from where the speaker, the second deputy speaker, will come in and do the exchange. And we were preventing the exchange from happening because when it happens, they are introducing fraud into the counting process. That was what caused the entire thing. If the speaker, and you see, because he had put us on notice.
You see, so I'd also ask you,
yes,
with the benefit of hindsight,
yes,
upon sober reflection,
yes,
was that the best course of action?
It wasn't, but it was a necessary action. Oh. Hold on, to prevent the presiding speaker from being head counted. That is total an anathema. That is an affront to the standing orders. But they wanted to perpetrate it, and they did. They had done so many things which is an affront to the standing orders, and got away with it.
You see, after all of this, with the shame that you all acknowledge that this has brought to Parliament, the question is being asked. You definitely would have to find ways of working together.
We have always worked together, Israel. It's been a very long.
What do we?
May I make the point?
Two things that
it's been a long 12 months. It's been a long 12 months. So we've worked so far together very well. But where?
12 months.
Hold on.
Where we've
Israel,
had
Israel. Let me make them Israel. But where a party with an equal number, but acting with the mentality of a 169 majority, and we want to have its way all the time, I think the minority has a duty to resist by the use of any means necessary to make sure that the standing orders as provided, or the orders as provided in our standing orders, are complied with. All that we were doing was in compliance with the orders of Parliament.
Vincent, yesterday, one of the things that came up in our conversations on the brawl that happened in Parliament, we had Professor Lord Mensah indicate.
And let me make the point. You heard him say that they went there first to prevent us from taking the seat. You agree to that fact?
In fact, I was the first person to have.
Thank you.
So hold on.
No, he explained that he saw some minority members.
How could you be first
positioning themselves?
How does positioning amount to
he saw that they were positioning themselves?
The motive is, how will I be distracting or obstructing my own Speaker of Parliament, especially
because you are going to encourage an illegality from being carried out.
Let me explain this.
So
he just made.
But let's come. I just want to make this point. Yesterday we spoke to Professor Lord Mensah, and he was saying, and Dr. Draman of the Parliamentary Centre, and they were both making the point that it appears that the majority or the MPP is acting in Parliament as if they have significant numbers. But it is about time they got to appreciate that what we're dealing with is not the same Parliament we had.
They have to wake up and smell the coffee.
In the previous Parliament.
We have equal numbers.
You probably have to do things a lot differently and have a lot more compromises.
I will answer that. But I want to clear this aspect. He said, I have always said, I am not a lawyer. He is a lawyer. And there's a popular maxim that the express mention of anything in our statute books will mean the exclusion of all others that have not been mentioned.
Exclusion unis.
Absolutely. He's a lawyer. I am not, I don't know. So if you check our standing orders,
yes,
okay, the standing order 102,
yes,
109, 2 and 3 will solve this matter. 2 is very clear on the things that it said and intended to say. And the 3 will tell the things that it intended not to say. So the 2 says that Mr. Speaker shall have neither an original nor a casting vote. Emphasis mine. An original nor a casting vote. And if upon any question before the House, the votes are equally divided, the motion shall be lost. So what is of primordial importance to me is that the Speaker shall have neither an original nor a casting vote. When you come to the 3 says that a deputy speaker or any other member presiding shall not retain his original vote whilst presiding. You see, casting vote is missing. You see, casting vote is missing. But what that means is that a deputy speaker of parliament is first and foremost a member of parliament, representing good people of Bekwai and Fomena. You cannot take that representative position away from a member of parliament. So whilst he loses his original vote,
the deputy speaker himself, not too long ago, made it clear on the floor of parliament that he knows that he wouldn't be voting, but he believes that he's included in the quorum.
That's what I'm saying, that the original vote is different from casting vote.
Can I
there's a clear distinction between both of them. That when you sit as a speaker of parliament,
at the end of the day,
you don't have an original vote.
And at the end of the day, the question that I'm asking is, or the point, or the reason I say that the point that Nelson made is fair, is, and the analogy has been made, that you have presided over a judgment.
Yes.
In the original, the ayes have the voice vote. The speaker didn't, the first deputy speaker who was presiding didn't vote.
No, it's the speaker. Once you are sitting in that chair, you are
he
the
didn't
speaker.
vote.
Please.
So if he didn't vote,
now is very clear that
if he didn't vote,
a deputy speaker.
No, I'm just asking this. I'm asking this.
Right.
If he didn't vote, because there's also the spirit of the letter or the spirit of the law. So if he didn't vote, and the ruling is being challenged, and so you want to put it to a head count, why would he want to be counted?
Because he's not voting at the time he's presiding. When you check the 109,
I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the spirit.
So hold on.
It's not even about
hold on,
spirit.
senior, hold on.
You've read
hold
it.
on. At the time he did
How
not
many
vote.
times do you want to make this point?
He did not vote because he was sitting and presiding as a speaker. When he leaves the chair to go and sit on the seat as a Bekwai MP, you cannot deny him of his vote.
Okay. But can I address that?
Because at the time, he is not presiding.
No,
because the law was very clear that when you are presiding...
Okay, the law is very clear. Now, he's making a zero-sum argument. The law he quoted is his Waterloo, is his undoing. Why? Because in this process, there's nothing like an original or a casting vote at all. Votes have been taken. And when it is challenged, it is about the numbers. Because a voice vote, you are unable to determine...
to verify the numbers.
In a voice vote, it is naturally impossible to determine numbers. That is why the law says that if you have doubt, call for the determination as to numbers. Now, when you do that, and when proceedings of parliament is defined by a scheme, once you are presiding over proceedings, you cannot participate in the vote taking as the presiding speaker.
Is this one of the things that probably should go to the Supreme Court for us to get some determination?
You know, Supreme Court has no jurisdiction in this matter. It is only Parliament itself. And indeed, we have new standing orders. As to why we are not even adopting that, it's a mystery to me. Because as a member of the Standing Orders Committee, we've done our work. Done everything. And the document is a perfect document, at least for purposes of our work. But somehow, they still want us to rely on this one, the old one.
See.
And Israel, here's the thing. So where my brother says that a presiding speaker doesn't have an original vote but has a casting vote, we are not speaking, the matters in question are not germane to his point. It is not about the fact that the numbers are equal and so the speaker decides to cast, to vote as to tilt it. Right. No, that's not the scenario being played out.
A verification.
The scenario being played out is that votes have been taken, voice vote. Now we want a determination as to numbers. And so his attempt to leave the seat is to add to the numbers of the majority. Yeah. Now, his explanation in the studio here It's contrary to the official explanation put out the majority leader, who said that the man was going to take his medication.
Yeah. I'm sure you heard that. Yes.
So, so there are issues.
So how do you reconcile the two? Because in one
you see, there are issues.
I am saying that.
Clearly.
I am saying that the first deputy speaker of parliament at every point in time.
So,
and I've already indicated.
So the majority.
Even Alban Baben, at every point in time, even when sometimes members of parliament we are on our feet debating, he seizes the debate and tells you that, hey, I have to leave the chamber.
Again, that suggestion is moot because the man had already put the house on notice that I shall participate in the vote. That's all he said.
So I'm saying
that is what put the minority on alert.
So the question
to prevent that from happening.
Answering the question which I asked him.
He's already answered.
No, which
is not going to vote while sitting as a speaker of parliament.
But the man announced that to the house.
Because he's not going to do so while sitting.
But he announced that to the house.
He had announced.
Are you saying that we should deny the first deputy speaker of parliament his right to vote?
To go and get head counted.
Because
that
at the time,
that is fraud.
That is not fraud.
That is fraud.
That's not fraud.
That is fraud.
That is why we have a second deputy speaker.
That is fraud.
That is not fraud.
That is fraud.
Nelson, please hold.
That is fraud.
How is that fraud? That cannot be fraud
because
we cannot deny the people of Bekwai
fraud
by virtue of the fact that
fraud because
because he's a member of parliament first and foremost.
Hold on. Fraud because the scenario is this: 10 persons were sitting.
If you will let me,
Israel. No, hold on. 10 persons were sitting. Voice votes have been taken. It has been established or it's been decided that 6 persons who said nay had it, and 4 persons who said yes didn't have it. Now, we want to determine whether or not truly the 6 persons who said yes.
There were 6 people and there were 4 people.
There were 4 people. And then the person who called for that determination to be made says that now I have to go and get head counted. So is that how we do things?
So okay. So Roxy, it's okay. You
as part of either the group that said yes or the group that said
Roxy,
no.
Because he's a member of parliament.
How is that possible?
Qualification as a deputy speaker.
That is fraud.
Because he's a member of parliament.
That is fraud.
The question I'm asking.
That is clear fraud. The minority.
The majority leader says that he got off from the seat because of health reasons.
Yes.
But you are then saying you're actually justifying his vote. So which?
Or his intention to go and vote, which the minority resisted.
Indicated
that
when the time is ripe,
he would want his vote to be counted.
Absolutely. So I'm saying that even when the time was not right for him, he had to go and ask to attend to his medication.
After the voice vote had been taken and challenged.
Hold on.
You recall that they suspended the house?
Yeah, my brother.
No, you recall that as soon as we asked for the division, you suspended the house for almost 30 minutes. You have spoken.
We said so much.
Yes.
But the question I'm asking is, how are we moving forward?
Israel, we are
how is Parliament moving?
Israel, we are moving forward.
See,
we
just I've already indicated to you that
to avert recurrence?
Myself and my brother, we have every responsibility under the sun to protect the integrity of Parliament.
Yes.
I don't need a soothsayer to come and tell me that the integrity of Parliament is in shatters and in batters. In fact, as I sit here, I am ashamed as a member of Parliament. Why? Because both of us have contributed in putting the integrity and image of Parliament to a point whereby we allow Ghanaians, the people who give us the mandate, to insult us the way they are doing. That's why I've already told you. In Twi, we cannot. Udika. Omudika. We have every responsibility to redeem it.
So
and our actions and inactions going forward, we need to make sure that we redeem. What we are going to do, and what I suggest that we do, is that there need to be utmost consensus building. Utmost consensus building. Because if that does not happen, from what I'm seeing, whether from the majority side or the minority side, I won't budge. I won't budge. I won't understand. Unless what I think should be done is the only way. That means that there has been negotiation. When you are going on any negotiation and you take that stance of a hard negotiator, definitely you may not be able to reach the kind of results that you want to get. And so I will implore all members of Parliament, especially the leadership, both sides, and most especially the one that the buck stops with, who is the Speaker of Parliament. he should be able to rise to the occasion.
You've said some,
as
you've
a
said
leader.
some very, very harsh things about the Speaker of Parliament.
Well, I don't remember saying anything harsh. That time that we came here, all that I said was...
It's been captured in the news. It's been captured in the newspapers. I could actually bring you...
When I say the Speaker of Parliament should show leadership, I've already told you that the buck will have to stop with him. The buck stops with him because he is the Speaker of Parliament. He should be able to show that leadership to regain the integrity of Parliament. See, if I am told that the Speaker of Parliament cannot come to the chamber to come and sit, whilst after proceedings, I see his motorcade and his cars and everything parked there, showing that he's in the office. Why wasn't he in the chamber to come and preside?
The Speaker of Parliament? Absolutely.
Yesterday. Not somebody tell me. I saw the Speaker of Parliament, his car, motorcade and everything parked there. But he was not in the chamber. So I ask, when the Speaker of Parliament knew that there was going to be such a vote, that you knew that your first Deputy Speaker and second Deputy Speakers are members of Parliament first and foremost, that you were supposed to preside. When there's any bystander, any neutral, any onlooker, he would think that there is a certain mentality or something that...
As far as that is concerned, which is something that I said this morning, we've heard the first Deputy Speaker say that the majority, the Speaker, Alban Bagbin, told him to preside.
Absolutely.
So there was all this that's been said that the Speaker was nowhere to be found and all of that.
No, but I'm saying that when you know there's going to be a vote and you know your first Deputy Speaker is a member of Parliament...
Why was the majority then saying that the Speaker was nowhere to be found?
Of course, because the majority leader has already said... Oh, let me finish. Hold on.
Has spoken
hold on. Let me finish. Hold on.
By way
the Speaker of Parliament...
How do we
come to the Speaker of Parliament has the first Deputy majority leader has already indicated that there were a number of calls that he sent to Bagbin, which were unreturned, were never picked.
That's beside the point. The point I'm making is the first Deputy Speaker said that the Speaker had spoken with him.
Yes.
But the majority gave the impression that the Speaker, Alban Bagbin, had gone AWOL.
I'm saying that. Why would the Speaker of Parliament allow his first Deputy Speaker to go and take the seat when you know that there's going to be a vote? Because we had already taken out the e-levy from the main appropriation and we have singled it out. What that means is that we all knew that there was going to be a vote. The intent is what I'm questioning. I am questioning the intent.
Go ahead. Israel, thank you very much. You've been asking Vincent, how do we make progress? He's been throwing in all sorts of missiles. Look, he speaks of consensus building. Israel, if we build consensus and you have no regard to the rules of the house, it will break down. You don't build consensus and disregard the rules of how to apply the consensus. So the first thing the majority must learn is to respect the rules of the house. Whatever the procedure it is in law, let us follow it to the letter. Then there will be sanity. That's one.
Your understanding is the law.
No, that's one.
When you put interpretation of it,
let me finish. 2, it is never correct that the Speaker was in the presence of Parliament 3 days ago.
No, I said yesterday.
No, but yesterday, nothing happened. Yesterday, we just went to adjourn.
Did we know we were going to adjourn the day before?
Yes.
We didn't know.
Oh, my brother.
We adjourned for proceedings to continue yesterday.
Please. We had a caucus meeting. We were informed that we were going to adjourn Sini Day for cooler heads to prevail so that when we come back, this will be taken.
All right.
You understand? And in any case, who says that any presiding speaker can preside over proceedings for decisions to be made? You saw it fit to use Joe Osaiwusu to take a vote on rescission. Why didn't you say that you wanted to wait for the speaker to return? Why is it a crime for the speaker to suddenly leave his seat for some reasons? So that argument is a zero-sum argument. It falls flat.
All right.
So, and third, Israel. There, like you said, and in consonance with what other men in academia have said, the majorities must learn to respect the minority. It's very, very important. And it is unethical for the majority leader to publicly say that he placed a call to the speaker and the speaker is not returning his phone call. It's most unethical.
Vincent has to go. So let me just put this to you, Vincent, quickly. I was telling you that you've been captured in the newspaper, in the Daily Dispatch, where you've used some very harsh words on the speaker. I'm just asking.
What did I say there?
Okay.
What is it saying?
So here, it says that Alban Bagbin, they're quoting you, it's a devil mayhem.
No, maker. You see, when you misquote somebody, when you say somebody is a devil maker, it's not devil mayhem. What is even?
So it says devil mayhem.
No.
He has disappointed Ghanaians. If you allow me, I will use more adjectives on him. He relinquished his duties and he must be blamed. I'm disappointed in him. We, the young ones, before we came to the house, somehow looked after him to be a better legislature. I'm disappointed.
I used this devil maker when I was here with my brother.
And I asked him to apologize.
I mean,
to retract.
But when you
say
somebody is a devil maker, I don't think that is insulting.
It
is not.
No, any attempt to liken all this to a devil.
All right.
No, it is just an idiomatic expression.
Yes, but it is totally unacceptable to do
just
that.
an idiomatic
because
expression.
you see,
I mean, he's
you
like a father. I cannot insult him.
You see,
if he feels
you are not
insulted,
even using a simile.
I apologize.
We are not using a simile. You use the expression in a very metaphorical way.
Absolutely. He was about to
and it is more damning to use a metaphor than a simile.
Can we hear his apology?
Oh, but when you say someone is a devil maker, for me, it's not insulting.
That's metaphorical.
It's not insulting.
No, it is.
It's not insulting. But of course, I mean, this is a big platform.
And honestly,
if my own very good father,
conditional
Bagbin.
Conditional if.
But you are supposed
go
to be
straight
my
to
friend.
the point. I'm your friend.
Allow him.
Say you apologize.
Of course, I mean, if
don't say if.
Words are harsh, of course, I mean, I apologize. But in my estimation, I didn't think that it was going to be something insulting. No, that was not the intent.
All right.
I
think it's a good point.
Yes, and I thank him for the apology. It's good because you see we are young, and we have a long way to go in national politics. So some of these things, they are not necessary. So I'm very happy that he's done
All right.
that.
We're looking forward to the two sides working a lot better in 2022.
Israel, we have always been ready to work better, to work in a very cooperative manner.
And for the majority to also appreciate that you don't really have significant
let me say this. Somebody hinted me and I went back to the video. The president actually singled out the majority MPs and thanked them for passing appropriation. And I found it very, 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 very unacceptable. That appropriation was passed by all 275 of us. But the president said he expresses gratitude to the majority members for passing appropriation. I think the president could do better. And again, the majority leader, who is a father figure for me, it's unacceptable for him to keep saying publicly that he is placing calls to the Speaker of Parliament and is not returning same. That's not the kind of relationship the two of them have. They've been together as friends for 30 years. I think he can do better than that. If you place a call to Speaker and you couldn't reach him, his office is just 10 meters away from yours.
But was he in the office?
So why would it be necessary? You have a 24-hour access to the Speaker.
I mean, I'm saying this because I think it became pretty clear that even though the majority was indicating that the Speaker was nowhere to be found, he had actually communicated to the First Deputy Speaker.
Yes.
So clearly.
And that's the truth. So why should this be a public matter that you place a call and you couldn't reach the Speaker?
Yeah.
It's unethical for me. It's too pedestrian.
All right.
It's too pedestrian issue to belabor.
Thank you very much, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekwe for South Dai, for joining us for this conversation and for being part of the AM show for the whole year. This will be the last time this year we're going to be speaking with you. And I also want to say thank you to Vincent Eko, who has had to leave. He's going on, he has another engagement, and we do appreciate all of them. So, as I keep saying, we're hoping that Parliament will continue to work. They will work in a more cordial manner, the two sides, and I appreciate some of you would have to also soften your stance so that you're all in the interest of Ghana. Right?
If I can say a quick message to my people.
Please do.
Chienu to Sanga, to Wawasi Camp, to Fegbe, to Beve, Chopu Kofe, to Mamiwata Kofe, to Bloko Kofe, to Soji Kofe, to Todume. Ajokwe New Town, Old Town, Agbate, Udume. Avetile, Jogbati, Blango, Chame, Jake, Anyensu, To Dugan, Chanakpe, Jemeni, Agodake, Atokulukpo, Fanti Kofe, Ajebwi, Jakiti, Bongboni Kofe, Ausa Kofe, Chita, Abui, Ahon, Kaira, New Kaira, Chate, Baibome, Akpato.
All of them.
Todume. Medo Blonya Ojo, Mienemi, FA, and Emilo. Nama odila madogo mi fira gwa mi adu blonya akpene mi kakaka.
Yeah. So essentially saying that Merry Christmas to all his constituents, and mentioned all the communities there. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Nelson. All right, so we're taking a quick break. Well, not quite. Now, following the introduction of the Hazardous and Electronic Waste Control and Management Act, Act 917, and the legal instruments, the European Union funded the e-waste management in Ghana Imagine Ghana project in 2018. The project, titled E-Waste Management in Ghana from Grave to Cradle, is under the Switch Africa Green Phase 2, SAG Phase 2 project. The University of Cape Coast is leading the consortium implementing the project. Watch this and we'll have a conversation after that.
Agbogloshi Scrapyard in Ghana's capital of Accra is considered one of the largest e-waste dump sites in West Africa. Near end-of-life electronic gadgets generated both home and abroad are dumped here. As new technology emerges, old gadgets are rapidly fading out, creating a mountain of electronic waste. It has become one of the biggest environmental and health problems in Ghana because of the crude method used to dismantle the gadgets. The age-long practice has been the burning of gadgets to extract precious copper for sale. The burning emits toxic fumes with adverse effects on human health and the environment.
It makes us to cough, and then our eyes, we can't see far distances. And this effect all come from the burning of these things, copper. It makes us to take some things, drugs, that will make us active to make the work very easy.
Thanks to the E-Margin project, the pollution level at Agbogloshi Scrapyard has significantly reduced.
Every month, used to go to hospital. Like 20 people, 15 people, go take them for hospital every month. Now it has reduced more.
So normally, like what we train you to do before, you need to, during the lecture, what you're supposed to do is to rest the machine when the person brings it.
The E-Margin project aims to train and formalize the over 200,000 people working in the e-waste sector in Ghana to reduce the risk associated with unsafe practices. Philip Avite, an electronic gadgets repairer, is one of the beneficiaries of the training in Accra.
The training has helped us so much. I think now we do not even burn and we do not pollute the environment. People are even not falling sick as they used to do. And now we have economical value for some of the parts that we remove. I use some to replace this TV I have over here. And I think health-wise, I'm always healthy attending to my job. I think it's quite holistic on the health side, on my personal income, and also on livelihood.
Electronic waste contains precious resources like mercury, gold, copper, lead, plastics, and other substances that have economic value. This is how scrap dealers at Ashaiman in the industrial city of Tema dismantled e-waste in the past. Now, a lot has changed after their training with e-margin projects.
At first, when we bring things to the shop, we just do anything anyhow. Now they taught us how to put on the clothes, even the boots that we wear. I'm talking about the health, safety aspect of it. So it has really helped me. And then another thing is when we bring things to shop, we don't take record of them. They taught us how to take record of them, as well as the serial numbers of those things for tomorrow's sake.
Kumasi is Ghana's second largest city. The scrap dealers here say they've stopped burning after undergoing training on e-waste recycling.
We used to dismantle anyhow. We don't even follow the steps as to how you will dismantle the material to be able to obtain the necessary component that we are looking for. We normally use scratching or smashing method of dismantling, but looking at being collaborated with e-margin, they came in and then they took us and they provide numerous trainings for us that's with regards to scrap business.
Also, first, I have nothing to happen, but you know, we training in Vienna. I'm not say my and she copper. First, I'm come over Gina Hanman, come on to me, Kahanina Bemusi. I'm not say a fat copano, a Hawaii de Babre. To much say copano, Yenya, my and she copano. But you know, Mugusun can some beer. I say, Umbabre, machines beer. You talk upon a yenshin cry, and no cry, me follow no back was right, said the Yeshin.
Most scrap dealers concentrate on retrieving precious metals from e-waste. The plastic component is normally burnt or discarded. Here in the northern town of Yendi, Yakubu Alidu started the Buaru enterprise. After benefiting from trainings from e-margin project, the company has developed a method for the sustainable recycling of the plastics found in electronic products to produce raw materials for the plastics industry.
We are two people. We started employing people because of the e-margin training. We started to get a table and chair because of the e-margin training, keeping our records. We decided to go to look for accounts because of the e-margin training.
The processing facility has helped in reducing plastic pollution in Yendi, as residents of the town bring their plastic waste here for recycling. Officials of Ghana's Environmental Protection Agency say the European Union-funded e-margin project is a game changer in managing electronic and plastic waste in the country. Registering scrap dealers and formalizing the e-waste sector in Ghana is new.
We recognize the contribution of the e-margin project towards improving the management of e-waste generally in Ghana. You recognize the fact that e-waste management has been a major challenge for us as a nation, and it reflects in various government policies on the environment as well as our strategic plans. And recently, even in the country environmental analysis, e-waste management is one of the key areas that we intend to focus on going forward. So it's very critical to what we are doing. And also it's also playing a key role in the implementation of the Act 917 and its associated regulations.
Right, so you saw that documentary there, and it's all about e-waste. But joining me in the studio for a bit more on it is Letitia Nyaba, who's a Deputy Director, Ghana National Cleaner Production Center, and Professor Rosemond Bohini, Project Coordinator, University of Cape Coast. Good morning to you both for joining us for this conversation. I'll start with you, Letitia. So why are we focusing on why the focus on e-waste?
Thank you very much, Israel. I want to say good morning to your viewers and the people listening to this show. Thanks for having us. We are saying e-waste. We are in an electronic age, and the rate at which gadgets are churned out in a year, the rate at which new models replace previous ones, it's so fast. And then as human beings, we desire to acquire every gadget that comes out, every model that comes out. And so these gadgets also do not live forever. They have an end of life. And when they come to their end, something has to be done about them. The other thing that happens is that e-waste is the fastest growing waste stream in the world. And so they contain very valuable materials that can be retrieved to be reused as secondary resources, but they also contain very toxic substances if you don't manage them well. If we remember a few years back, Ghana became notorious because of what was happening at Agbogloshi.
Yeah,
that it was that
yeah.
One of the most toxic places in the world. So we had to do something. The how of the processing was the problem. But there are ways of doing it and getting it better. You can still retrieve what you want, and then you can also make sure that the obnoxious substances, the toxic substances, are not released into the environment to harm our environment, our land, our water bodies, our air, and then cause sicknesses and diseases, deprive us the opportunity of using the resources that are available in the environment. If our water bodies are polluted, for example, our fish, it's gone, our water sources are gone, we can't get drinking water. So those are the things. Now, the other thing is also sustainable development, SDGs. We are talking about them. There was a COP, recently COP26. The burning, the operations release these toxic substances into the air, and they also contribute to our carbon emissions. So we also, global warming. So we want to promote circular economy in the sense that we want to keep resources as long as possible in the value chain. You want to depart from the linear, you produce, you use, and then you dispose of. But you want to produce, use, and bring it back to reuse through recycling, recovery, reuse, and other options that are available. So that is why we are focusing on e-waste. And the other side of it is that it is a source of livelihoods for a number of people in the country. True. So you do not want to do a total ban on the management, on the recycling. You want to make sure that it is done properly. People are still able to have their livelihoods. They do not pollute the environment. They do not expose people to risk. The other thing that happens is that the secondary resource that it is, these people feed the steel industry in Ghana. They get all the scrap metals and take it to the steel industry. So without them, even our industries will not function.
So there's recycling.
Yes, there is recycling. There's a circular
But Prof, why are we describing us from grave to cradle?
Yes,
or cradle to grave?
No, from grave
to cradle.
Cradle, yeah, because of, I'll continue from where Letitia left off. If you look at what she said, she was talking about pollution. People don't dispose of them in an environmentally sound manner. Of course, when they burn, they inhale the smoke. And when they inhale, of course, we know what happens to their health. So we are saying that despite the fact that we are saying it is electronic waste, it is also money in transition. And that if you recycle it very well, of course, you take the bad fractions out. And we have some positive fractions that can be recycled. She was talking about the steel industry. You can also get gold, you can get copper from some of these electronic waste. And if you are able to transform them, you'll be able to make money from some of these positive fractions. That's why we are saying all hope is not lost, because we say it is electronic waste, but it is money in transition. And in addition, what we are trying to do as part of the project is that we are trying to formalize the informal sector. We are creating awareness. So all these things goes to show that, yes, all hope is not lost, but there is light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to electronic waste.
Would you say that you're already beginning to see some successes or some benefits of what you're doing, this project?
Yes. When we started, of course, if you look at the clip, you see that some of these MSMEs, most of them are in the informal sector. They were burning, but as part of the project, we promoted best practices by building the capacity of these micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in the area of environmental health and safety. We also trained them in business fundamentals, and we also took them through how they can formalize their businesses, because they have to manage those businesses like a normal business. And for now, especially when it comes to the capacity building, we've been able to train 150 micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises as to how they can grow their businesses. We've taken some of them through formalization. They've registered, they've gotten their tax identification numbers, they've registered with the Registrar General's Department. Some of them have registered with the district assemblies, and some of them are going through registration with the Environmental Protection Agency.
So clearly you would say you're making some headway, Letitia.
Yes. I will say that we are making some headway, because the awareness creation and especially the capacity building in the area of sustainable dismantling has brought a lot of change in how they operate. Things they otherwise would have thought of, the first option was to burn, is no longer an option. You see, so they take their time, they dismantle, they segregate and sort out the various fractions, take out the hazardous parts, take out the positive parts, and then deal with the positive part, and then keep the negative parts for other things. I want to say that they have realized also that the income streams have also improved, because now they bend to get rid of the plastics. But from our training, they know that the plastics are also valuable. So they can sort them into the various plastic types, PVC, HDPE, heavy, high density polyethylene, low density polypropylene, PP, and all that. They sort them, and then they are able to get markets for those products. So they see that there is value in what they are doing. The burning, they pay for the burning in actual fact. They pay for the burning to be done. And then after they pay for it, they also release a lot of toxins into the environment. But they are cutting that out, and they are also earning money.
And so I know that there are a number of partners who have supported you to make this possible. I'm sure they deserve some shout-outs.
Yes, we want to say a very big thank you to the European Union. They are the main sponsors of the project. Then we also have University of Cape Coast, the first university in Ghana, the first university in West Africa, number 4 in Africa, first in the world when it comes to research influence, and amongst the top 350 universities in Ghana. and the University of Cape Coast is the lead.
Okay.
But we also have the Ghana National Cleaner Production Center. We have the City Waste Recycling Limited, and we have Adelphi Research Germany. They are all partners to the project.
Okay.
But the main sponsor of the project is the European Union.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, we want to say thank you to all of them, and wishing you all the best as you continue to work towards giving Ghana and the world a cleaner environment and a much safer place, less pollution. Thank you to you, Letitia and Prof, for joining us for the conversation, and wish you all the best. And a Merry Christmas to you when we go. In fact,
thank you. Okay, the chocolate. Thank you.
So
thank you very much.
My favorite.
Merry Christmas to
thank you
all of
so
you.
much.
Thank you very
Merry
much.
Christmas.
All right.
To you too.
And so Letitia Nyaba is the Deputy Director, Ghana National Cleaner Production Center, and Professor Rosamond Boahene is the Project Coordinator at the University of Cape Coast. We're taking a break as I... All right, so we'll be wrapping up the AM show in a bit, but before then, I'll be sharing with you that soundbite I've been talking about all morning about the first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Owusu, talking or saying that it was the Speaker who asked him to take over proceedings, even though the majority had given the impression that the Speaker was AWOL and couldn't be found. And so I'll be bringing you that soundbite. And also, for the best Ghanaian experience this holiday season, look no further than Taste of Ghana, a unique festival that showcases and celebrates all the amazing elements of Ghanaian culture. Come and enjoy local dishes and beverages, fashion show, drama, poetry, fine arts and artifacts, and good music. Taste of Ghana comes off on Monday, 27th December 2021 at the forecourt of the State House from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. and it is absolutely free. The dress code is strictly African print. Please note that all COVID-19 protocols will be observed. Taste of Ghana is brought to you by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Ministry of Information, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Trade and Industry, Ghana Tourism Authority, Guba Enterprise, Beyond the Return, Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Taste of Ghana, our language, our identity, our pride. And for all those of you who will be having all the fun during Christmas, I just want to urge you that please do it in a safe manner. If you haven't had your COVID-19 vaccine, please go get it, because really without the COVID-19 vaccine, you can't participate in all the activities that have been lined up. So it's not too late for you to go get the jab. And please, as you party responsibly. Now, we've heard of 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% discount, but never 50%. Sethi Realty is offering 50% discount on their dwelling properties. Prices starting from 210,000 Ghana cedis. That's like a price for a brand new car. Wow. This offer is for a limited time and on selected units. T's and T's apply. So if you're looking for a 2 or 3 bedroom home in a gated community, make sure you call Sethi Realty on 055-143-5555 or 055-143-8888 or visit them online via yamiduagh.com. And that'll be it for the show. My name is Israel, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas. But as I promised you, before we go, happy birthday as well to Muftal Nabila Abdullahi of Joy Sports. He's part of the AM show. Wish you the very best. And then let's listen to Joseph Owusu, the first Deputy Speaker, on what he had to say about the Speaker of Parliament asking him to take over proceedings.
Yesterday, the Speaker started after about an hour and a half. He called me to come and take over from him. I was not feeling very well. So, within 1 hour, I also asked the second Deputy Speaker to take over from me.